From the uncovering of Leroy Benjamin's body in a drainage ditch off Harlow Boulevard to the discovery of the skeletal remains of Corbin Johnson in northwest Jacksonville. In this video, I'm walk y'all through a list of every op that Foolio brutally killed. And first on the list we have Youngeen Ace's brother, Trayvon Bullard. Who better to start this list with than Foolio's greatest op, Youngeen Ace? Unfortunately, in this tale of Foolio's brutality, it wasn't Youngeen Ace that got killed. It was his younger brother that suffered the consequences. However, Youngeen Ace didn't leave unscathed. He got shot 8 times in the attack. How did this go down? The night of June 5th, 2018 started as a celebration. Youngeen Ace was out with his brother Trayvon Bullard and 2 close friends, Royale Devon Smith Jr. and Jacoby Groover. They were out celebrating Trayvon's 18th birthday, a milestone that should have been filled with joy and laughter. As the night drew to a close, they decided to head home. The atmosphere was relaxed, and their guard was down as they talked about the good time they had just had. Little did they know, their lives were about to be shattered in the most brutal way imaginable. When the group pulled up to a red light suddenly, out of nowhere, another car pulled up beside them and opened fire, unleashing a hail of bullets on Ace and his friends. The scene was chaotic and horrifying. Bullets flew through the air, shattering the windows and tearing through the car. Ace was hit 8 times. He was shot once in the hand, once in the arm, and 6 times in his buttocks. Despite the excruciating pain, Ace tried to protect his brother and friends, but the attackers were relentless.
I ain't gonna lie, I tried to like shield my little brother, 23, it was his birthday. So I tried to shield him and make sure he was good, but
Trayvon, Royale, and Jacoby were all hit multiple times. Trayvon was shot 3 times, Royale was shot once, and Jacoby was shot multiple times as well. When the gunfire finally stopped, the aftermath was devastating. Trayvon and Royale were pronounced dead at the scene. Jacoby was rushed to the hospital but succumbed to his injuries shortly after. Ace miraculously survived the attack but in critical condition, fighting for his life. By now, y'all are probably wondering how Foolio has anything to do with this murder. Well, I'm gonna give you a backstory. Foolio had a cousin, Zion Brown, who was murdered in his home in 2017 by DeAndre Thomas. With a little bit of research, it was clear that DeAndre Thomas and Youngeen Ace were close friends, and in the same gang, ATK. So it's very possible that the attack on Youngeen Ace in 2018 was a payback for what they had done to Foolio's cousin in 2017. Then he wrote a whole song, When I See You, dedicated to the details of the murder. The lyrics go, "Light them boys up like the 4th of July. They got caught lacking. The world wanna know why. Went out to eat on his birthday. 4 shot, 3 dead in the worst way." To add to that, in his song, List of Dead Ops, Foolio raps Ace the only one survived. Seemed that blessed if you ask me. He's still trying to beef. Remember you lost 3. Lyrics like these have stirred up rumors and speculations on Foolio's possible connection to the attack and murder of Youngeen Ace's brother Trayvon Bullard. Corbin Johnson. The story of Corbin Odell Johnson's disappearance begins on a seemingly ordinary day, July 11, 2018. Corbin, 18 years old at the time, was last seen by his friends and family, going about his daily routine. But what started as a normal day soon turned into a nightmare that would haunt his loved ones for an entire year. On the day he disappeared, he had a job interview lined up at Amazon. At 4 p.m., Corbin's friends, Jerika Sims and another companion, chatted with him via FaceTime. He mentioned he was waiting for a ride after his interview and asked if they could get him something to eat. According to the missing person report, Corbin's father, Corey Mormon, dropped him off at 5 p.m. for another job interview with UPS. 45 minutes later, Corey picked him up and brought him to his mother's house on Biscayne Bay Circle. Melissa Mormon Jackson, Corbin's mother, saw him for the last time at 9:30 p.m. that night. His dad explained to cops that he sent him a text message the next morning around 8:45 a.m., but I never got a response. That was unusual for him. When Corbin failed to respond to his father's text, concern began to grow. By 6:30 p.m. on July 13th, Corbin's family officially reported him missing. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office launched an investigation, but despite their efforts, no leads emerged. For an entire year, Corbin's trail went cold. The community rallied together, organizing search parties and spreading awareness, but there were no clues, no signs, and no answers. The pain of not knowing what happened to Corbin weighed heavily on his family and friends. Then, on the evening of July 11th, 2019, exactly 1 year after Corbin's disappearance, a man clearing land on the city's northwest side made a gruesome discovery. Using his tractor, he unearthed skeletal remains wrapped in a plastic-style bag. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office later identified the remains as those of Corbin Johnson. Y'all are probably in shock at the details of this gruesome murder, but over the years, Foolio has dissed the boy in more than 5 songs. We're talking List of Dead Ops, List of Dead Ops PT2, and CCGG to mention a few. In List of Dead Ops PT2, Foolio rapped, "Corbin got kidnapped. They found his bones. He was rot." And to add to that, he made this tweet, "I'ma use Corbin thigh bone at Top Golf as a golf club." The whole one, further disrespecting his death. Stuff like this makes people wonder if Foolio had something to do with Corbin's mysterious kidnapping and murder. Prosper Natron Johnson. Smoking Prosper and Tay. died on the same day. That's a lyric from Foolio's song, List of Dead Ops PT2. While it's not uncommon for them to talk fake or lie in their songs, this particular lyric is just too bold to ignore. Almost like a clear admission to the crime, stirring up rumors that he killed them or had some of his gang members in KTA do the job. How was Prosper killed? The shooting took place in the 7,300 block of Linda Drive, just northwest of Lem Turner and Interstate 95. It was a Sunday evening, around 9 p.m. on Linda Drive, when 3 men were ambushed and riddled with bullets, leaving the 3 men dead and 2 women injured. The victims of this horrific incident were 17-year-old Prosper Natron Johnson, 26-year-old Bobby Norris III, and 20-year-old Deanta Holsey. One woman who was a witness said she saw bodies lying on the street and compared the shootout to a war zone. The parking lot of the nearby apartment complex quickly filled with concerned residents and onlookers, all desperate to find out if their loved ones were among the victims. The scene was chaotic, with people frantically searching for answers. When the police and medical assistants arrived, Prosper Natron Johnson, Bobby Norris III, and Deanta Holsey were all pronounced dead at the scene. The 2 women caught in the crossfire were taken to UF Health Jacksonville. Initially, it was believed that both women were shot, but later it was determined that only one was wounded by gunfire, while the other was injured in the ensuing chaos. It was also very difficult for the officers to do their jobs. Investigation was slow, as residents were reluctant to speak due to fear for their safety. Police found a bullet hole in one car and 2 flat tires on another, likely caused during the shooting. However, the police gave no notice and no arrests were reported. The neighborhood had seen its share of violence. The December before the shooting, 53-year-old Ahmad Miles Franklin was shot and killed while waiting for a child to return home. In July 2009, 23-year-old Kelly Richard Hill was found dead in his car with a bullet hole in the window. These incidents have left residents feeling unsafe and desperate for change. Big Baby. Devron Crowden was a 16-year-old student at Raines High School in Jacksonville, Florida. He was actively involved in the Grand Park Athletic Association, where he played football. Devron's mother had just dropped him off at the bus stop so he could catch the bus to school. It was a routine morning, just like any other, but a short time later, everything changed. At approximately 6:30 a.m. on December 10, 2014, officers responded to a report of gunfire on 13th Street near Canal Street. Neighbors reported hearing as many as 15 shots. When the officers arrived, they found Devron's body lying in the road, riddled with multiple gunshot wounds. The scene was marked by more than a dozen shell casing markers, a grim indication of the violence that had occurred. He was standing at the bus stop waiting to go to school, not sell drugs, go to school, and he got shot and killed. That's a problem, said neighbor Daryl Alston, who knew Crowden. How is Foolio connected to this incident? Before he was killed, Foolio, in a series of interviews, explained the time he got shot at 15. The story goes that he had a fight in his school, and because of the fight, he was expelled and had to transfer to another school in Jacksonville. This school, however, happened to be in his ops neighborhood.
They sent me to this school, right, in my ops neighborhood. So one of the boys from that hood actually died that morning.
On the morning of his first day of school, a kid who was about to board the bus to school was shot dead, and the classmates blamed him for the murder. During the school period, Foolio went on Facebook to make fun of the boy that was killed on the bus, further intensifying the problem. After school hours, Foolio took the bus home, and as he stepped off, he was ambushed and shot multiple times in his waist. Luckily, he survived and was rushed to the hospital. In light of these 2 incidents, there have been rumors that Foolio is probably responsible for the death of Devron Crowden. Also, fast forward to 2021, Foolio would also rap about the incident in his song List of Dead Ops, with the lyrics going, "Big Baby got caught lacking on the bus, was going to school, savage." Linford Smith. On a seemingly ordinary Friday, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, or JSO, made a grim discovery that would send shockwaves through the community. Inside a home on Broadway Avenue, just 1 block north of Beaver Street, the bodies of 2 men were found shot to death. The victims were identified as 26-year-old Linford Smith and 25-year-old Charles Eunice. Linford Smith had lived in the neighborhood for several years and was often seen tending to his garden or chatting with neighbors. Charles Eunice, on the other hand, resided on Florida Avenue on Jacksonville's east side. Despite living in different parts of the city, Eunice was a frequent visitor to Smith's home, and the 2 shared a close friendship. The discovery of their bodies marked the beginning of an intense investigation. On that fateful Friday evening, police officers thoroughly processed the homicide scene, speaking to witnesses and gathering evidence. Despite their thorough search, no gun was found inside the home. This crucial piece of evidence remains missing, adding another layer of mystery to this already puzzling case. The absence of the weapon left investigators with more questions than answers, and the community is left wondering who could have committed such a heinous act. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has urged anyone with information to come forward, emphasizing the importance of community assistance in solving this case. While everyone in Jacksonville has been quite silent on the matter, Foolio, on the other hand, has been very vocal on murder in his songs. In List of Dead Ops, he raps, "I heard Linford was sliding. He died with stripes like a tiger." This has raised rumors that Foolio might have sent people to kill Linford. In the wake of this tragedy, friends and family came together to honor the memories of Linford Smith and Charles Eunice. Their lives, though cut short, have left a mark on those who knew them. Rollo. On the night of March 10th, 2019, Jacksonville was rocked by a brutal ambush that left 30-year-old Jeremy Brookins, known as Rollo, dead. Rollo, a member of Jacksonville rapper Youngeen Ace's entourage, was caught in a deadly crossfire at the Hampton Inn parking lot. This tragic event unfolded just hours after Youngeen Ace's concert, turning a night of celebration into a nightmare. The night started like any other for Youngeen Ace and his entourage. The rapper, whose real name is Keonta Bullard, was performing at a nightclub in Waycross, Georgia. The energy was electric, the crowd was hyped, and the night seemed destined for success. Among the entourage was 30-year-old Jeremy Brookins, known to his friends and family as Rollo. He was an aspiring rapper from Jacksonville, eager to make his mark in the music industry. Rollo had dreams of rising to fame alongside Youngeen Ace. He was passionate about music and saw this as his chance to break into the industry. But as the night progressed, the celebration would take a dark and tragic turn. After the concert, Youngeen Ace and his entourage, including Rollo, checked into the Hampton Inn in Waycross. In the early hours of March 10th, gunfire erupted in the hotel parking lot. High-powered rifles were used in the attack, and it was clear that this was a targeted ambush. The assailants had planned their attack meticulously, waiting for the right moment to strike. Rollo, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows, was caught in the crossfire and died at the scene. "The boys that shot my son, I wish that they could get into my head so they can see the pain that they caused," said Rollo's mom. She added that her son wanted to be involved in the music industry, and that lifestyle is what put him in a cemetery on Jacksonville's north side. Veronica Dixon Brookins, Jeremy's mother, was devastated by the loss of her son. She believed that the ambush was a result of a feud, or as they say, beefing, and that her son was caught in the middle. The Waycross Police Department, along with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, launched an investigation into the ambush. 3 Jacksonville men believed to be with Youngeen Ace were arrested on unrelated charges hours after the shooting. Despite some leads, there were no hard suspects in the case. Important to note that the attack wasn't necessarily on Rollo, but Youngeen Ace. And when you connect the dots and ask who Youngeen Ace's biggest ops was at the time, Foolio's name definitely comes into question. There had been a lot of beef between the KTA, Kill Them All gang that Foolio represented, and ATK, Ace's Top Killers, which Youngeen Ace belonged to. The feud between Jacksonville's KTA and ATK is a tale of violence, revenge, and territorial disputes that have left an indelible mark on the city. The roots of this beef can be traced back to personal vendettas and territorial disputes. Both gangs are heavily involved in the local drug trade, which has only intensified their rivalry as they vie for control over lucrative territories. During that period, there were many attacks and retaliation. One of the earliest and most significant events in this feud occurred in 2019. Hakeem Robinson, better known as Chew, a prominent member of ATK and an aspiring rapper, was accused of murdering Charles McCormick, a member of KTA. The murder took place in broad daylight, shocking the community and setting off a chain reaction of violence. When it comes to the death of Rollo, there's a probability that it was due to the ongoing bad blood between both gangs. To add to that, once again, due to his lyrics in the song, CGG's Foolio's involvement in the attack comes under suspicion. In the song, Foolio raps, "Shuggin' Rollo, I'm smoking them just for playing around," a bold confession to make in such a sensitive case. While Foolio was not charged, many still believe he was somewhat involved in the crime. Leroy V. Benjamin. The discovery of Leroy Benjamin's body in a drainage ditch off Harlow Boulevard near Fender Drive has left the Jacksonville community in a state of shock and disbelief. On a Friday morning, 2 students walking to school made a gruesome discovery that would forever alter their lives and the lives of those in the neighborhood. The lifeless body of 28-year-old Leroy V. Benjamin IV lay in the ditch, a stark reminder of the violence that had taken place the night before. The police launched a homicide investigation, with neighbors reporting hearing gunshots the night before. Speaking of gunshots, in the song List of Dead Ops PT2, Foolio raps, "Tay felt that switch, Ben, he a bitch. I shot back at you. How the f y'all drop y'all clip?" These lyrics have raised many eyebrows. To be honest, it sounds like a confession to the crime. Although Foolio was not charged, many suspect he was involved. Benjamin was no holy man. His past was marked by a previous conviction as an accessory in a murder case, adding a layer of complexity to this tragic story. In March 2013, Benjamin was released from prison after serving time for his involvement as an accessory in the murder of Tyrone Jerome Beasley. Beasley's disappearance from Jacksonville in December 2004, just a day before his 18th birthday, startled the community. His body was found a month later in Camden County, Georgia, badly decomposed and bearing the marks of a brutal end. Benjamin, along with 4 others, was charged in the case. He was accused of helping transport Beasley's body to Georgia and was sentenced to prison in September 2007. The discovery of Benjamin's body brought to light the broader issues of crime and violence in Jacksonville. The city, which has seen its fair share of violent incidents, was once again in the spotlight. The community is calling for justice, not just for Benjamin, but for all victims of senseless violence. The installation of a historic marker for the Dollar General shooting is a stark reminder of the lives lost and the need for change. Eldridge. It was July 19, 2017, when the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office received a distressing call about a shooting at the intersection of North Pearl and West 24th Streets. What they found upon arrival was a scene of unimaginable horror. At approximately 4 p.m., officers responded to reports of a shooting. Upon arrival, they discovered a young man later identified as Eldridge A. Buford, 23 years old, inside a parked car. He had been shot multiple times and was pronounced dead at the scene. Witnesses reported seeing 2 or 3 men approach Eldridge's vehicle before opening fire. The gunman then fled the scene in a sedan, which quickly disappeared from sight. The motive behind this heinous act remains unclear, and investigators have not confirmed if the shooting was gang-related. I heard the gunshots and saw the car speeding away. It's terrifying to think that something like this could happen in our neighborhood. Eldridge didn't deserve this. According to News 4 Jax records, this marked the 72nd homicide in Jacksonville that year and the 6th in the month of July alone. The sheer number of homicides was a stark reminder of the violence that plagued the city. While the killer is unknown, Foolio gave a hint to why Eldridge was killed in his song list of dead OPPs. He raps, "Eldridge died, he was snitching." Damn, either way, he was gonna get it. This whole situation gets even more complex when new information on the murder was released. Turns out that Eldridge had a Facebook page that, in hindsight, revealed worrying signs of the trouble ahead. Just 4 hours before his untimely death, Buford posted a chilling message: "I can't put my trust in anybody." This statement, seemingly out of nowhere, hinted at a deep-seated mistrust and paranoia. It was as if Buford sensed the impending danger but felt powerless to escape it. 3 hours before he was gunned down, Buford posted another cryptic message: "1,000 X pills look like a jar of Skittles." This post not only suggested his involvement in illicit activities, but also indicated a level of recklessness and bravado. A friend responded, "I'm coming through later, big man," to which Buford replied, "Yes, sir, I'ma be on the corner." This exchange foreshadowed the tragic events that would soon unfold on the corner of North Pearl and West 24th Street. Amidst photos of himself and what appeared to be his children were images of a handgun, a pile of white pills, cash, and marijuana. These images painted a picture of a man deeply entrenched in a dangerous world. The presence of a handgun suggested a need for protection, while the drugs and cash indicated involvement in illegal activities. Just over 2 weeks before his death, Buford posted, "It's all about longevity. Gotta be here to enjoy it." This post suggested a desire for a long and fulfilling life, yet it was juxtaposed with the dangerous lifestyle he was leading. It was as if Buford was caught between 2 worlds, one where he sought stability and longevity, and another where he was constantly on the edge. On July 9th, Buford posted, "Time to switch up. I want to get that real money, that legal money most won't understand." This post indicated a desire to turn his life around and pursue legitimate means of income. However, the phrase "most won't understand" suggested that he felt isolated, possibly due to the influence of his social circle or the environment he was in. There's also a possibility that he was about to come clean to feds. Remember, Foolio rapped, "Eldridge died, he was snitching." Buford's arrest record, though short, was telling. In April 2016, a SWAT team, a narcotics unit, and a violent crime impact team raided a home on Silver Street. They found Buford inside with crack cocaine, marijuana, pills, a rifle, and a handgun. He pleaded guilty to possession of cocaine and received time served, probation, and a fine. In 2014, another SWAT team raid on West 25th Street led to his arrest for possession of cocaine. Again, he pleaded guilty and received time served and a fine. The tragic events that unfolded on Pearl Street were a stark contrast to Buford's aspirations for a better life. As he sat in his new red Mazda 6, 2 to 3 men approached and opened fire, leaving him with no chance to escape. The 14 bullet holes that peppered the wall behind where the Mazda sat were a grim testament to the violence that had erupted. That's it for every op that Foolio brutally killed. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes on your screen to watch similar content.